Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Namaste, many blessings. I'm here with my lovely friend and assistant and facilitator, Flavia, and we're really excited to be here today with Heylal and with some side comments coming in from our favorite cookie eater, Dolores Cannon, offering me white chocolate macadamia nut cookies right now, knowing good and well I'm on a cleanse. So I thought a lot about the various ways that I could channel today, and I feel like I got the most, and that you got the most out of clear conduit channeling with automatic writing. So I developed some pretty extreme tendonitis the last time I did this, and here we go again. I've been channeling him all day and writing down some of the things he's saying, and I can't keep up. My hand can't keep up. So if I have to slow down based upon the tendonitis I'm experiencing right now, please just bear with me. And I have my pen, and this time they will not kill the pen because it's a full pen with full ink. Last time he ran my pen out and my whole notepad. This morning I went through 25 pages of notepad work. So there's more even after this that I will likely share, but in book form. All right. Yeah, exciting. How are you guys today? How are you, Flavia?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
All the way from Portugal.
Yeah.
You're dedicated. What time is it in Portugal right now?
10 p.m.
Not too bad. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. Thank you again for doing this for me.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Whenever you want to, and I'll start writing.
Okay. All right.
We have some things from Dolores first. The energy of gratitude is being held in a unique and particular way in your homes and households, your places of works, your church buildings and educational buildings, your entire culture systems are being pulled up from their roots. How does it feel? I'm not joking. This is happening all around the world. Your manifestations are happening at an increasingly rapid time and space. You are seeing things as if they are frozen in time, pondering your choices before they even come about for your choosing. Is this uncomfortable for you? I imagine that it would be. I hold so much respect and gratitude for the work that you continue to bring forth. You allowed me to teach you until you learned that you could teach yourselves. And now is the time where the teacher merges with the student, and you are all teachers and students, no distinguishing. Is it difficult now for you to perceive in the same way? Now we have Heylal. What she means is difficult for you. Do you grasp on tightly to your ideas of separation? And how much longer will you grasp them? Hold on a second. This is the hard thing about this type of channeling. Ouch, guys. Take a breather. All right. Who are you? Excuse me. New person. Identifying. Gandhi? This has not happened to me before with this one. Sorry, this is a surprise to me. We have Gandhi.
Awesome.
My hand is really, please slow my hand down. Thank you. There is so much gratitude held in the forefront of my mind and heart. Within your very core, you must seize the rantings of your minds, and you must underlie the focus of your lives. If there is any possibility of your rising above the mundane realm of chance and happenstance. And my hand, life happening to you. This is the arena of the masters. You are in the most exciting precipice of true self-discovery and self-determination. Are you willing to relinquish all ties to the inclination of shame and blame? This is external to oneself. Are you willing to put down your swords and pick up your pens? Are you willing to place down your shields? Are you willing to no longer be attached to taking credit for results of mind activity, achievements, meanings that you place behind an idea of success? They just merged together. I didn't know they were the same being. Quote for Patreon, that this is the biggest thing. He said, put down your swords and your shields. Lift your voices and your hearts instead. Your vulnerability is your greatest strength. Your ability to transparently feel within the connection of each other is your greatest knowledge. Why are you drawing lines? If you guys saw my paper right now, you'd find it really fascinating. Sometimes they do like this across the paper whenever they want me to switch, or they'll take my hand and move it straight down and go, like I'm finished with that statement. Dot. So those are the things that are interesting that happen in this type of channeling. Okay. Dolores, you are on both ends of the same spectrum, both sides of the same coin are rooted in what you've always called free will, except now it doesn't exist. It has always been divine will, the whole way. Everything that has happened has been planned by you. And it is only by this subconscious permission that all things, this so-called positive, this so-called negative expressions of what you think would be a personal will are capable of manifesting in physicality. One must be willing to rise above circumstances and realize that in the case of the adversity and the glory that you are facing in this event, in these 3 days, as you are calling them, gratitude is the frequency that must be felt, observed, and utilized. She's slowing down my hand. Can you genuinely express gratitude? Not just for what you like, not just for what you think serves you, not just for what you think is good for you. What if it is all right? What if it is all true? What if it is all perfect? What if you created all of this? Sorry, that was rough. She said, I'm not done. I just wanted you to flip the page. I'm running out of notebooks, and she pushed the pen down so hard that it stuck up in there.
Oh.
That's okay. I was prepared for you guys this time. Ha-ha.
That's prepared.
I'm normally not this prepared. It's all right. We got this. My trash can is full of pens right now. All right. Acclimate new weapon. Can you genuinely express from the frequency of gratitude, from this divine knowledge? Some of your older contracts are no longer serving, but you're so focused on how everything is unfair, unjust, right, wrong, true, untrue. You see, divine justice isn't based on your logic. It isn't based on your rules, your culture, your programs, your systems. But this is based upon an infinite system of intricate complexity. What if it's okay that you can't always understand it? Yep. Okay. It hurts my head to try. She said, so stop then. Nothing is counterbalancing. Heylal now. You see, you consider that events would counterbalance other events, that if something were to happen that would be a dark event, such as what you call in these upcoming 3 days, that other events would counterbalance or shift it. Events happening in the so-called past, events due to happen in the so-called future. But you see, a disproportionate release of positive or negative energy requires a corresponding balancing out. And this is all that the 3 days is. You are at your tipping point of imbalance. You're not righting something that's wrong. You're not correcting something that never should have happened. These expressions of counterbalancing energy points are the ways in which energy is permitted to manifest and be perceived by the linear monitor of your awareness in the physical. What if each switch back to Dolores. Consider this. What if each event that occurs in your life is true, is divine, is God, is a manifestation? And then, of the sum total of your intention, of your creativity, your past and future choices, relevant to the underlying point of that particular exercise and the state of being you bring to that particular moment. This event, these 3 days occur over and over and over again in various forms, in various ways. And the energy that you are projecting into any potential manifestation of an event determines in large part the magnitude of its expression and its effect on your greatest undoing. Heylal says, how does it feel to watch yourselves unravel, to be undone, and to not know if God is the grand knitter and with a fine-pointed needle has stopped the creation and has begun to undo you string by string, thought by thought, fear by fear, doubt by doubt. Moment by moment, you are no longer in control. How does it feel to unravel and to not know how you will recreate yourselves? They're ready for your questions now.
That was powerful. The first question we have is, how can we help humanity change it? How can you help humanity break the pattern of choosing suffering and fear instead of love?
Heylal, you are indeed creative beings, and the energy point of expression is the emotional technology that you continue to choose in each and every moment. If you don't like something, why are you continuing to choose it and create with it? Again, if you were knitting a sweater and you don't like it, what do? Undo it and start again. Undo it and start again. Undo it and start again. He keeps writing the same thing. And again, the energy that you're placing, the magnitude that you're placing on suffering being so pivotal, so powerful, so plentiful, so right, so wrong, so good, so bad. It only amplifies it. Dolores, as I've asked you many times before, you simply ask the subconscious for a different choice. You ask, does this serve me? I am aware of what I'm feeling. Is this good? Is this program working anymore? Okay, it's not. What suggestion do you have for us now? What is more beneficial now? Question the subconscious. It will always answer correctly. Why did you stop asking? Are you attached so much to your knowingness that you forgot your humility? Listen. Stop talking. Just listen. Your answers are there and you're quiet. Gandhi hurts my head a little bit. Hang on. You guys get to see my different physical reactions when I'm awake and channeling. And this type of channeling is incredibly physical. You have Gandhi? When he comes in, he goes, before he talks. He's a very cute and powerful personality. So, an outcome that does not please you or measure up to your expectations when you perceive it as painful or full of suffering, this outcome is not necessarily an indication of another shortcoming. It isn't an indication that you have strayed from your karmic path. Maybe a karmically determined outcome is one that is necessary to counterbalance an activity occurring simultaneously in another reality. Do you have to know? Is it imperative that we understand these realities? What if in this other reality? What if it's something that is in another time? In a realm of learning that is beyond your current state of comprehension? Just observe. You won't always know, but you will always be guided. I might have to get another notebook. What if... Switch. Dolores. What if your awareness of the role of divine will and your stubborn unwillingness to acknowledge God, to acknowledge subconscious for the role played in shaping your reality is the concern? Subconscious holds a role, and your fear of suffering blocks it from doing its job. And this creator role is shaping your reality for the optimum benefit of developing your soul. I'm sorry I'm not getting to the questions very quickly. They seem to have a lot to say.
I bet we are all wanting to hear all they want to say. Shall I go to the next one? Stacy wonders if the 3 days of darkness is symbolic rather than an actual event. God is, we are darkness, nothingness, as well as lightness and oneness. And the number 3 has so much symbolism linked to it. Is this another tool we can use that reminds us to go within?
Heylal, that is more meaning seeking. Dolores, it has occurred over and over and over and over. She's moving my hand. You hear it? She's like, yes. Gandhi, all of it is an energetic phenomenon. All things are energy. All thoughts are energy. All events are energy. Each day, one day is body, one day is spirit, one day is self. until the days run together and you no longer can depict how long or short it has been, if it is painful or glorious, until all you feel is oneness and all you know is truth. This is a reset. We cannot formulate one specific meaning, symbolic or literal, for you are each creating this event differently. Are you dreaming alongside? Switch. Yes. Heylal, are you dreaming alongside your brothers and sisters? You're excited always for the future, terrified of the past. The event is happening now. For some of you, it is gentle. Others have determined it must be set under something glorious. Dolores pops in. She said, "What this time? A blood red strawberry moon? Should I bring popsicles and popcorn? What do you need to believe me that it is happening now?" Sorry. And you feel it. The earth is responding to it. The new earth is responding. Oh, she had me text Candace. Candace, are you here? Do I have permission? Where's my phone? I can find out if I have permission, but my phone's missing right now. Because she threw it on the floor. Good times. Okay. Candace. Okay, I'm just going to have to trust Candace because I don't see anything. I texted her about this. Okay. I had a heavy download from Dolores and Heylal. And Candace and I were texting back and forth right before this channeling. And I saw just states, Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas in particular. And I saw a big, massive flood of red and green. It looked like a weather map in my head, with tons of wind, cyclones everywhere. And we were just talking about, something we had on the schedule this week that we want to reschedule together for a public event. And I just stopped and I went, whoa, stop what you're doing. We're batting down the horses. Go do this. Take all your cats and dogs. I don't care if you have 50. She's got a lot of cats and dogs. Bring them inside. Do what you need to do because something's headed in your direction and I don't like it. And we're getting warnings from the beings that we're channeling today that particularly Kansas and Oklahoma are in for, the first stage of the weather effects of the event. That's a first stage is water. So I sat longer and I realized that this comes in 3 stages. And I asked what that would look like. And I began to sit with that and perceive and receive downloads of that in my head. And the first stage was water and wind. The second stage was fire. And the third stage was earthquake. So in various areas of the world, there are stages 1, 2, and 3. So it looks like stage 1 is starting tonight in Kansas, probably in the middle of the night. Someone mentioned this in my group. I didn't know that because I have not been active on my groups this week. So I want you guys to take their warnings very seriously because when I do see weather events, they are always accurate. I've never been wrong about a weather event. So this is serious, Texas. Texas, not so much as Oklahoma and Kansas. So it went in that order of Oklahoma and Kansas equal problems and Texas getting sort of like the windy after effects with a lot of rain. So it wasn't Houston. I went through because I have family there, in Katy. And I went straight there. I'm like, who do I need to warn? I've got tons of family in Houston and Katy. It was mostly Galveston. So Galveston, you need to maybe fly into Houston for some refuge. So our drive there, you don't have too much of a drive there. It's only about 45 minutes north, I believe. So just take those downloads were really powerful for me. And that was right when I got on the phone with you and I was telling her about that. So those are situations that require our attention. He has something else about symbolic representation. Heylal does. He said, the reality that you experience in any given moment is in actuality a symbolic representation. Why? Because you are dreaming. Dreaming comes in symbols. You like it this way because you have programmed yourself in such a manner that your brains cannot acclimate so much information simultaneously. Therefore, you are given what you know you can handle at your particular stage of remembrance. And the representation symbolically would be of the thought form. It's an energy charged communication that you put out to the universe for creative manifestation with every word, every thought pattern, every emotional frequency, every daydream, every state of wonder, with every aspect of your creative process, from thought to feeling to word, and the sound that is expressed thereby, and the actions that trickle down from such power. You created this event because you wished for a reset. You wished for yet another do-over. They're ready for your next question.
Thank you. How should we be prepared for these days, and what time frame of the event will occur?
It is now, it is now, it is now. All of them unison said that. They're all nodding, and that's what they wrote. Gandhi, you see, it is in this way that what you have considered was free will this free will with which you are so empowered is now implemented and permitted to manifest in your physical reality. Your thoughts are the tools with which you create for yourself the karmic lessons which your subconscious wishes you to focus your energies. So again, this isn't about the timing. It has already happened and is happening. There are stages. Dolores, this is the first stage. The second stage will occur during the summer solstice. Is this July? Yeah, July. The third stage is by October. But then you will do it again in 2028. And what is now occurs from this point until June the 22nd, extending its after effects well into July, at which point the second stage begins, and the third stage by October. But again, you will do it all over again differently in 2028. You will do it again even backwards from this in 2039. You never stop. What is the need for concern now? I'm going to let you ask another question while I heal.
Okay.
We have to find a different way to do this.
The next question is, what can we do to make the ascension process easier? And how can we help others transition as well?
Sorry. She said, oh, you think you're in control. Have a cookie. Dolores again. At least you are not out of control in your recognition that spontaneous creation is permitted to transpire because you did it. She went like this with the pen. You did it. I seriously don't want those cookies. She said, this time, will you learn from it? Will you learn from the process by observing carefully your thought processes that pass through your conscious awareness as they occur? Don't put it on hold. Don't wait until your job's over. Don't wait until someone's not looking before you allow yourself to cry. What if there's no more waiting? What if you don't have time to wait until a better moment anymore? What then? That's all that this event is about. Now is operative. It's before your lives so imperatively that you cannot ignore yourselves any longer. You cannot ignore your needs any longer. But observe this and note the time lag between the occurrence of your thought and its manifestation into experiential reality. That. She moved my finger like that. Just observe yourselves. Become aware. Are your thought patterns controlling you? Are they running on like a faucet left on? Do you want a flood in your head? Do you want a flood in your life? I'm being literal now. This is a collective thought pattern that is flooding your world. Come together. Allow your collective thoughts to be peaceful, full of divine sound. Switch. She said, yeah, save that emotional stuff for him. She points to Gandhi. I can't concentrate with you guys sometimes. Okay. He's laughing though. He thinks it's hilarious and he's laughing heartily. As am I. How often, if unbridled, these thought frequencies, these patterns being fed into the grid of your earth systems, being fed through your awareness, how often did they go uncontrolled? Heylal said, and they still think they're in control. How often does it carry a negative charge? Observe the manifested result of these thought patterns because they are affecting your collective world. And it won't stop here. And when you are consciously becoming aware of yourself, your will, your patterns, before long, you'll be able to filter out these non-productive activities that are causing the events to go south. You can even catch yourself in the act of creating these world disasters and stop them before they start. Dolores said, you better start now. Next question.
Would we still have questions and asking why when we wake up from the dream of ego on the new earth as we are full spectral beings in human suits?
She said, "What do you think?" And they all went.
Someone else asks, Frederick, how can we help the animals making the ascension or during the 3 days of darkness?
She said, bring them inside. Just shelter them in the same way that if they become anxious, and if you are anxious, they will be. If you or they are anxious, then shelter them inside somehow. Preventing access from sunlight during this time, providing just a peaceful, restful environment with food and water, beds to rest, plenty of rest. Gandhi's coming through a little bit more again, and he's reminding me of a time where I did not follow his advice. Oops. The last eclipse that we had here in Utah, I lived closer to Salt Lake City. So I was out in Park City at the time, and I was given specific direction from my masters and from Gandhi particularly. He said, stay inside, close the windows, shut your blinds. So, Russ and I and our friends at that time were all together in an Airbnb at the top of Park City. And my friend Jennifer and I were like, it's time to go outside. And he's like, and of course, I did it because I don't have that kind of fear. And I ended up collectively purging for millions of people for there's about 3 million people currently sharing my dream. So whatever we as a collective, in my soul group needed to really heal from and purge, we did. And it was horrifying. It was horrifying.
I imagine.
You remember the pictures of how much I cried. Like I was in my white prayer cloth. And I remember my friend Jennifer whispering to Russ, she was like, do we comfort her? Do we stop her? Do we take her back inside? And he's like, nope, it started now. You may as well just let it finish. She knows what she's doing. But these are one of those times. And the feeling of that, Gandhi wanted me to remind you, is very similar to those of you who experienced that eclipse, with me. You will remember how difficult it is on channels and healers. So please stay inside. It's a really good idea. If you're purging something, and if you feel you're purging something, if there's fear, if there's, as Heylal calls it, these negatively charged energies through you, stay inside. I wasn't even aware that I had any at that time, but apparently I did. So just be at rest. Find all of your joy inside of yourselves. It's the time for rest. Next question.
Thank you. Why do our spirits enjoy experiencing forms and ego as they are not real?
Dolores said, because you want to, and you want to again and again and again. Why is there any other reason except that you're bored and you want to? Heylal, get out my pen. These are major life lessons that you choose to creatively experience. This karma, however, will continue to be programmed into your consciousness by your higher mind so that you are able to complete your creative missions, which you have asked for, you have aligned to, you have created, and you will continue to master the issues on which you agreed to focus prior to your birth into this incarnated experience. Do not become frustrated if you're not able to instantaneously manifest love, abundance, harmony, total freedom from this karmic strife. simply because you recognize the validity of the process. Don't force yourself to think positive thoughts. Much work is done in your dreaming. And it is during that time that essential messages are documented. They are collected, documented, and released into the universe for manifestation to occur in your reality in ways that you could not possibly conjure or understand until it is before you.
If the harvest has just happened, was Gaia a positive, negative, or indifferent harvest? Either way, what does that mean for us?
Heylal says the harvest is a gathering of collective information. Earth is a galactic library. Do not fear. You have chosen to gather, store, and allow this DNA accumulation and then harvesting. You are the way that God sees itself. That God is able to learn. Dolores went, whoa, whoa, whoa. These two sometimes aren't on the same page. She just went, whoa, 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 explain that. Because they're going to ask you next, how can it be possible that God too is learning? And he moves my hand again to reply to her. Because God knows nothing of your dream. God didn't create this earth. You think this is God's world? That's a whoa, whoa, whoa. He put his hand back to her. The sons and daughters of God are dreaming. God knows nothing of their dream and wishes to learn by observing his children expand.
All right.
He's going to her down in a minute. I'm just going to let you guys can talk to them.
Yeah. Robert asks, why do we doubt our progression?
Dolores said, if I took my body and put a big, bright, white robe on and a crown on my head and sang something glorious, put my light into a column and came down and said, I am God, you'd doubt that too. You doubt everything for the sake of the doubting until you get bored, until all of those doubts collapse down, all of those programs are transcended. Okay. I didn't really want to hear this. Okay. She said, you're purging, and the times that concern you, these 3 days of darkness, represent the efforts of the subconscious collectively to intervene when your doubts have held you down for too long. So your higher powers, if you will, for whatever you choose to call it, are intervening and co-creating with you the world as you originally intended it to be. The sons and daughters perhaps strayed a bit this time. You intended for this to be a spirit-centered world. A world of oneness and joy with all God's creation equally. And now, a lot of purging is necessary to achieve that state of physical perfection. Prepare yourself for this inevitability for this purging. And know that by shifting your conscious thought process in every given moment when you experience these doubts, shift to an optimum positive charge of energy, project that into the whole of the conscious collective, and you will contribute to this purification process, and its effects will be much more manageable. I'm good.
Thank you. Hayan asks, why have him always felt drawn to Heylal?
Heylal responds, thoughts of oneness are so fulfilling. Thoughts of creativity are so compelling. There is something in between the two that is even. It is quiet and yet full of sound. It is empty and yet quite full of creativity. You are meditating upon this eternal fount of beatitude and felicity, and all of the other charms of the ego fade away when you seek the balance that I represent. And all of these false idols of what you've been seeking when you say you seek God, when you say you seek realization, when you say you seek ascension, all these idols and charms begin to fall away and lose their pull, lose their attractions. Just like the case when one finds a spring of fresh and pure mineral water, and he would not forget drinking water drawn from a polluted lake or river, no matter how holy it may be. All his desires to obtain comforts and pleasures from other sources of happiness in this delusional world subsides once one would find this sparkling eternal fount of balance and bliss. And I am that. I am what you have forgotten. Please remember now.
Thank you. Carolina asks, how likely would have the more apocalyptic timelines have played themselves out? And how much intervention has actually happened to get to the timeline we are in now, in addition to our own remembrance of who we are as a spirit while in human form?
Dolores went, shh. She said, please simplify your question. This is too much thought process.
Okay. So the first one, how likely would have the more apocalyptic timelines have played themselves out?
She said, well, who cares?
Okay.
It was very likely, and now it isn't. Does it matter why?
And the other one is how much intervention has happened to the timelines we are in now.
Heylal said, who do you believe is intervening? Did you send angels down from the sky again? Is this the game this time? You together. Your heart bonds. The twin souls of this earth. The family connecting, folding and unfolding within each other, amongst each other. The bonds that you are creating in your remembrance of each other is the intervention. Thank yourselves.
Thank you. Question for Dolores. Donald had a QH session about a year and a half ago, and he would like to know what are the reasons his higher self wouldn't talk to him.
Dolores said, because your ego wants to be louder. Gandhi says, you operate with so much compassion and loving kindness towards everyone and everything. But you are so shaming, negative, critical to yourself. You have trained your higher self to not have a place in your world. You did not want to hear. Release negativity, which is unwelcome in your thoughts. Let the breath carry them away. Do not contribute towards the escalation of thoughts of retaliation and response and reactivity to the pain and suffering that you see in the world. You are focused on what is wrong in this world. We urge you to focus on what is right within you. You were scared of the world, but your brain was your biggest enemy.
How can we best serve others in these changing times?
Gandhi again. By focusing your individual and collective, united thoughts in tandem on concepts such as peace, harmony amongst your fellow humans. This would certainly contribute significantly towards a more peaceful outcome to be achieved in the 3 days of darkness. And these efforts serve to diffuse the extreme measures of intervention that you collectively have set into place that might otherwise be required to effectively achieve those ends. Train yourselves to say, when you see something that you are judging as terrible, as wrong, as bad, as scary, if you can't love it, if you can't forgive it, if you can't love someone, can you at least be compassionate? Doesn't everyone deserve that? Train yourselves to project the frequency of compassion towards all of your fellow creatures. Train yourself to learn unconditional love towards all situations. Heylal is coming through and showing me a wall, and I'm just seeing this inside of my mind right now. And he said, in your biggest dream of conditioning, you are concerned about your leader building a wall when you are the one placing its bricks. You cannot undo these walls while you continue to simultaneously build them. Stop demanding that the world live up to your personal expectations. Accept reality as that which is. Yet strive to continue envisioning the future as it could be, and cease the shaming, the blaming, the finger pointing at your governments, at your loved ones, at your family, at your enemies. Do not place external blame upon yourself either. Recognize the creative role that you have played. simply by being present in the creation of the totality and sending compassion to it and forgiving it. All of these things together contribute in such a powerful, positive way towards what you now strive for together. If you can't be compassionate, and if you can't release negativity, simply walk away. Choose again. Breathe again. Think again. And certainly do not speak again without choosing again, thinking again, breathing again. You can't fix what isn't broken. There is no need for retaliation. Justice is not yours to dispense. Trust that the perfect countermeasures, the perfect counterbalances will be provided in all cases for any perceptions of misdeeds enacted upon you in your past lifetime dreams and in your present. And allow the universe the power to exercise its own divine perfection. How could you even possibly creatively conceive of divine perfection while simultaneously holding to such negative frequencies? Breathe again, think again, feel again, choose again. Okay.
Thank you. Maria asks, how can we best express gratitude at this time in regards to the 3 days of darkness?
Dolores says, there's no roadmap to gratitude. Look around at what you have. And how would you feel if you didn't have it? Is that the lesson that you're choosing to create from? This requires a very disciplined mind, a disciplined thought system, disciplined emotions. And these are skills to be cultivated by anyone who would consider that their focus is truly that which could make a difference. For the overall well-being of the human race is in your hands. These are skills that cannot be mastered too soon. There's no better time than right now to begin. No more potentially far-reaching. No aspect of your training that is more important. For this constitutes the bridge of consciousness that is necessary to manifest this proof that you keep seeking, that you can get from there to here. But you're lost in seeking evidence, finding one truth. Heylal interjected her, and he said, yeah, finding one truth in an environment that is insane, that does not align to truth. If you want truth, be it, he says. If you want love, be it. If you want peace, show it. If you want compassion, give it. If you want balance, breathe it. If you want love, become it and be patient with it. You are the bridge necessary. Once you are upon that bridge in earnest, you are halfway home.
That's beautiful. Helena asks, did I get it right that we are no longer able to create or manifest?
Dolores said, no. She said, did you come in halfway through? Your manifestation is instant, she says. So instant that you should be careful what you're wishing for. You do creatively manifest, and now is the time to observe how quickly you are doing so. And after this event, manifestation will not be the same type of karmic influence. You will not have to experience suffering first in order to remember that you are whole to begin with and never required healing. Well, that's exciting. You guys need to slow down on the hand stuff here with the channeling.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a lot of writing.
It really is. I think I've gone through at least 8 or 9 pages, front and back.
Oh boy.
Right.
Should we go to the next one?
Yeah.
Or do you wanna? Okay.
No,
Max says, I just learned I'm not human and was told I am here to learn frequency modulation healing for my kind. What does this mean?
She said, wait. Dolores. Okay. Heylal said he can't be something that doesn't exist. So that is true. And Dolores said, yes, but wait. If he's dreaming that is true, let him dream. Gandhi's going to be a little bit of a voice of peace in this. These two. I had no idea that it was going to be like this. I'll tell you what. No preconceived notions that they were going to fight in my channeling. I promise I did not know this in advance. Gandhi's moving the pen now. The moment has come for those who would consider themselves to be the holders of these empowering, transmutational, peace-holding frequencies, to look beyond the constraints of the teachings in your age. The teachings of your ancient ones are still true, although somewhat outdated, and the teachings of the new ones are ungrounded and unhealthy. Please elaborate, Dolores. Sorry, I had to stop him. You need to know what that means, because I know, but I don't think you do. When he says the teachings of the ancient ones, what he means is some of the Vedas, some of the real ancient spiritual text, ancient Buddhist text, stuff like that, right? They're all nodding. And when he means new teachings, he means new age and metaphysical. They're all nodding. Okay. And I just need to confirm that for you. Look beyond the constraints of such cultural conditionings. She said, she's kind of poking some fun at me because I started out in yoga with Aquarian sadhana. You Kundalini yogis out there, you know what I'm talking about. And Kundalini yogis get up at like 4 a.m. So I would get up at 4 a.m. every single morning and just stretch myself and get in the car and run all the way downtown to sadhana, with another colleague of mine. And we would sit there together with about 5 other Kundalini masters and watch the sunrise together and do all this Aquarian sadhana together. And it was, 2 or 3 times a week at the very minimum. And I just stopped doing it. And one day I asked Heylal, I'm like, why am I not doing it? I know it's good for me. And he said, well, is that technology active in your DNA constructs any longer? And I did a little check on myself and I went, And he said, so anything that's telling you to do something at a certain time of day, all the time, if you outgrow it, the master within you will say, I've outgrown this. Now, Dolores is interceding, as many of you. expected by now in this particular channeling. And she said, however, there are some of you that are going to take this upon yourselves as an excuse to be lazy. So I am not talking to you. And he was not talking to you or Pamela because she did her work. So I tell people, this is why I tell people with source stones, 33 days. Do not come back to me 33 days. That is a commitment. That is the disciplined thought and disciplined emotion that Heylal is mentioning. He wanted me to find the balance within that so that people wouldn't say, well, that means I don't have to meditate. She would say that. She felt somebody doing that. And she said, no. She went,
Not so easy.
Yeah. So he wants to continue, Heylal. Many of you are having difficulty with the conflict that you perceive between new arrived information upon this planet and new teachings, newly arrived divine truths, and limitations posed by creative truths as presented in your traditional ancient teachings. It must be understood that the information presented to mankind by divine sources is always a direct reflection of the receptivity of the audience to handle the technologies. That state of spiritual readiness has served to determine throughout the ages the level of divine truth that a particular collective of people were permitted to receive in a given time frame. Spiritual development is not a static condition, but an ever-evolving one. Strict adherence in these times to a perspective presented thousands of years ago, reflecting the state of spiritual development of that population, is to deny the progress that you are creating as masters now. Do you want to keep going? You got a lot to say on that. We'll be here for 2 hours. Do not limit yourself. Do not restrict yourself. The evolution of the soul of man is a fact. You are not the same being incarnate in these times as you were spiritually when perhaps you were incarnate in the time of Jesus or Buddha. And just as it could not be considered a reflection of a sacrilege to experience spiritual growth in the years and lifetimes which have transpired, so it should be considered a reflection of that growth that you now are ready for more sophisticated information. And this is not sacrilege. This is not disrespectful, this new cognition of your avatars who are alive today. Do you realize, Dolores, she said, do you realize that you stoned Jesus for providing new information that you couldn't handle at the time? Luckily, he survived it, and then you crucified him. Luckily, he survived it, and now you crucify the modern Jesus. Luckily, she survived it. Will you listen now to her? Okay. I think they're quiet for a minute. This is rare. Go ahead for another question.
Okay. What can you tell us about the relationship between the event and rare astrological alignments this year?
Dolores said, stop looking at the moon. Of course, you're going to perceive rare astrological events And the more you perceive them, the more they destroy your environments. If you're afraid of them. But what if you perceive them not as some ship that you're terrified is going to crash into Earth? That's already happened. Nibiru's here and has already been here. This isn't about an astrological phenomenon that has occurred, will occur, and will continue to occur time and time and time and time and time again. This is not the focus of the event. The event is inside of you. She's going to let you guys have it today. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just moving my hand and mouth.
I think this is the last question. Lindsay says, I have been guided to do meditations in creating chords with everything that exists, all light and all dark, and transforming it into one creation within my heart. How does Heylal and Dolores feel about this work?
She said, Dolores said, if that's what you want to do, if that's your way to create, when you feel good about it, then you know it is true in your creativity. We have Gandhi. What if it is a natural state of being, and certainly nothing extraordinary in these times, to perform these cities? Don't define city, you have to tell them. They use unique terms. A city is a rare psychic gift, is what that is. To perform these gifts, these cities, these feats today you consider them supernatural or magical. Wounds could be healed instantly with the touch of the hand, with a concentrated focus of energy directed through the eyes, and then with the breath, to name but a few techniques that you elevated souls have at your disposal. Illness in other realms is almost unheard of. Suffering, a rare occurrence. And in times, in the beginning, peaceful, pure stages of Gaia, this is what you intended it to be. And in these times, humans operated out of fairness and love for their fellow beings and for all of God's creatures. And peace and harmony reigned all over Earth. And it will be again.
Thank you. How will the 3D collectives break free out of fear-based alignments when the 3 days of darkness occurs? Is this 3 days a complete release of soul contracts and karma for a resting period of humanity along with you? To Heylal, this question.
Can you simplify that again for me? I'm having a really difficult time processing that question.
Yes. How will the 3D collectives break free out of fear-based alignments?
That's what I'm having a problem with. Dolores popped in and said, you are free.
Okay.
The 3 days of darkness are already beginning and you are free. This is not about the 3 days helping you break free. You are already free. It's not about that, Gandhi says. The fact that the peaceful effects, the love, the connection in humanity occurring, the many sons and daughters and children of God finding each other. The fact that these peaceful effects are manifest now in identifiable, evidenced ways, which you've classified as certain supernatural things, gifts, you've called it ascension, awakening, various things. But some of you are still releasing certain temperaments before you can be prepared. About half of your collective has a positive meaning that is that you are denoting to these 3 days, to this event. And the other half are going through dramatic shifts in energy and temperament, which likewise, these dramatic shifts, which you are experiencing within yourselves, and you note these same negative experiences reflected back towards you from others around you. These experiences are in truth nothing more than a physical demonstration of energy acclimation and your creative action. And if you can approach any and all encounters with these negative manifestations, it'll be easier to deal with these unique karmic individual situations as they arise, and to avoid the unnecessary conflict. Gauge your reactions and overreactions. Overreactions to instances where pain, suffering, cruelty, inappropriate behavior occurs can and should be avoided by recognizing the truth within the technology of compassion and recognizing how to be the compassion in these situations. You thus avoid the blame on more mundane causes. For these causes are within your dream, your creative significance anyway. Tolerance and understanding will be the key qualities with which you must operate in the coming times. For the physical effects and mental effects of the energies coming will be intense, as will the energies of those affected who are unawakened around you. And you will perceive them with feelings of irritability, depression, despair, unreasonable actions and reactions, and the like are to be expected throughout the population in the 50% of unawakened beings at this time. We must assume an air of detachment, strength, compassion, tolerance, and mercy. And as you observe that your physical body is acclimating to each progressive shift in vibration during this event, the energy patterns, the mood patterns will stabilize and balance, and beings around you will perhaps temporarily experience feelings of normalcy and stability. And it is important that one not too readily dismiss associations with other light workers who are undergoing these momentary bouts of energy shift assimilations. For the phenomenon is truly out of your control, and the instability and emotions that follow suit accordingly. or out of control. But the fact that a state of normalcy will return indicates a positive result in an ongoing acclimation process within a shift in unawakened beings on Gaia. And were the physical body and mental bodies not progressively realigning with these shifting energies and technologies, serious illness, serious catastrophe, serious natural disasters would be the manifested result, as it has been in your creative past, when the earth was destroyed by water, by fire, by air. When heated tempers and emotional pains subside in the collective, it should be obvious to all who become attuned into the nature of this phenomenon that a state of countermeasure, counterbalance, and equilibrium has been attained. And this cannot be overemphasized, for the temptation will be great to take momentary outbursts and displays of out-of-character emotions at face value, to take your dream too seriously, rather than to place the burden of responsibility on the process itself. Likewise, when you are experiencing these out-of-character energies and behaviors within yourselves and others, it would be advisable to condition yourselves to stop and consider the possible causes energetically for such behavior before indulging yourselves in acting and reenacting and responding to negative emotions. It should become a regular part of one's relearning, one's conditioning process, to evaluate one's feelings and inclinations before taking action in any and all instances where such action might spark negative reactions and cycles of furthering energies in others. This understanding, if taken on a larger, more global scale, could in theory help avoid what is likely to escalate if you do not.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If we fear this weather, are we manifesting the severity of it?
Dolores nodded. Yes. She said preparation is always necessary. Safety is always operative. Use your brains. I can't sometimes with you. Heylal says, do not become lost in uncertainty. Those of you still frozen in your inaction by fear of acting correctly or incorrectly, fear of fearing rather, those of you whose lives hover in a perpetual state of suspended animation, to understand clearly the cause of this condition means determine whether or not you are willing to commit yourself completely to managing your frequency. So much talk of this lately. And I find it as a teacher just coming out of my mouth to everyone I'm seeing on managed frequency. Stop what we're thinking, stop what we're feeling. In that moment, let's be aware of it. Do we really want to feel that? If not, what do we want to feel instead? I'm constantly observing my frequency and stopping, going, oh my goodness, that just pulled me down a massive rabbit hole. For how long? You know? Really?
Yeah.
Is it necessary? Healers and teachers, you know what I'm talking. Empaths, you really know what I'm talking about. Okay, he wants to continue. Whether you have the courage to act upon your instincts, whether you're capable of balancing the blind leap of faith with the safety of logic in these times, knowing that either way, life is at stake. This is the barrier that must be dealt with now. If there is no scratch, if there is to be any possibility of a peaceful future on earth as you would perceive it, consider that the times now upon you require a fortitude and focus of intention, an awareness of frequency, an ability to choose again when it does not serve you or others. It requires a level of trust in one's own abilities to perceive and receive, and to source information that would provide a new sense of direction wherein there are no questions, there are no doubts, there is no room for anything but God-focused clarity, decisiveness, dedication, commitment, and action that comes from the knowingness that your inner directedness is in alignment with your own highest purpose. This is the state of being to which you aspire at the deepest level. And though you may not be in full conscious awareness of the state towards which you are being propelled at a soul level, that lack of conscious clarity does not serve to negate the fact that you are in motion, albeit perhaps even in spite of yourself, in that direction of New Earth. The need to perpetually analyze and assess one's current state can also be a concern if doubt arises. And this heralds little more than an acute awareness of one's own self-perceived lack of progress. Dolores interjected and said, and then they're going to shame themselves about it and say, I'm not ascended. I'm not enlightened enough. My higher self didn't talk to me. Well, so what? Go back to eating cookies. God, I love you. That's how you want to end this program. Chewing them out again. Back to Heylal. No, she said no. She wants to have more of her piece. I'm going to let her. She said, the growth that you are speaking of is not measurable in linear terms. So why do you keep trying? A scale of what? Goodness or badness? Rightness or wrongness? Ascended or not? Do you want gold stars next time? This isn't spiritual kindergarten. I'm not going to put a chore chart on your fridge. It's not indicated by evidence, external proof, a master telling you that you made it or not. It's not indicated by what you think of as success in your current life circumstances. It's not indicated by how long you meditate or if you did ayahuasca this year. Your ability to confront your circumstances in your lives and the havoc that you perceive to be what was your life before the 3 days is more of an indication of progress in a positive direction than otherwise. Wow. You have a continued focus on so much material success, and you are directly relating that to manifestation and mastery at the exclusion of everything else. You could correctly assume that if that were the case in your life, progress were not being made. The fact that your circumstances may appear chaotic, that your life has lost any recognizable sense of direction, that you look wistfully back on what you regard as moments of clarity, moments of connection to spirit guides, moments of your higher self talking to you, and now you think that clarity eludes you. All of these things are indicative of the state of transition that is a necessary stage in the process of true spiritual awakening. You can't enlighten what already is God. Where are you going? You want to just float away? There's no easy route to this ultimate destination that you travel upon together this time. And the journey is made step by step, hand in hand, side by side, painstakingly, I know. For it is for you who find yourselves in these moments of agony, of greatest despair, of greatest suffering, to let go of the fears that bind you to a need for the familiar. This is what is changing. And to trust that the way will remain unclear till you are able to do so. Did I make the 3 days simple enough for you?
I bet it she did. Wow.
My hand's going to fall off. I really got to go.
Yeah, we're almost 2 hours in.
Okay. Ice on and now. Right here.
Yeah, that was so powerful.
Oh man, I love to channel that way, but it takes its toll on me.
Yeah,
on the hands at least, and the carpal tunnel. So maybe trancing will happen with Lao Tzu because he's all calm, and I didn't expect another person to come in, another being.
Give your hand a rest.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I will see you guys, I believe, on Friday for Lao Tzu. I'm going to tell you right now, he speaks in a way that's very much like, the best way I can describe it is like a riddle. Is very frustrating. So if you want something specifically answered, with Lao Tzu, reference the Tao, step number 1. He loves it. Step number 2, simplify. And if you don't understand what he said, ask him to simplify. So simplify your question. And then if you don't understand his answer, ask him to, bring it down a notch. Because this is a being that is so evolved in oneness that everything he says is really simple, but the ego likes to make it incredibly complicated. So ask for a further simplification. He is incredibly patient, but he is a very, very wise and simple being as well. And it's profound wisdom simultaneously. Much like when we channeled Oneness, I believe. It's very similar to that. So I'll see you guys on Friday. And yes, I need a facilitator. Somebody reach out to me, please, whoever wants to do it. I love you guys. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Flavia.
Thank you for having me.